I don't know why I agreed to this. The second I saw the house, something inside me screamed to turn back, but I couldn't. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was just plain stupidity. But here I was, standing in front of what many claim is the most haunted house in the world. They say no one who stays here past 3 a.m. ever leaves the same. Let's find out if that's true. There are haunted houses, and then there's this place. Hidden deep in the woods, miles away from the nearest town, stands a house with a reputation so terrifying that no one, and I mean no one, dares to spend a full night inside. People who enter claim to hear whispers when no one's there, doors locking on their own, shadows moving in places where there shouldn't be any. Some visitors even leave with scratches and bruises they can't explain. Sounds like the perfect place to test my luck, right? So I packed my camera, some flashlights, and enough batteries to last me through the night. My goal? To survive until sunrise. But what happened inside was beyond anything I was prepared for. I arrived just after sunset. The road leading to the house was barely a road, more like an old, forgotten trail overgrown with weeds. My car's headlights barely cut through the thick fog rolling in from the trees. The house looked worse than I imagined. Wood rotting, windows broken, the front door slightly ajar as if it was waiting for me. I parked my car but left the engine running. Just in case I had to make a quick getaway. Something about this place felt wrong, like I wasn't supposed to be here. But I pushed forward, gripping my flashlight as I stepped onto the porch. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The legend behind the house. Before I step inside, let me tell you why this house has earned its terrifying reputation. It was built in 1893, owned by a wealthy man named Theodore Blackwood, a man with a dark obsession. Theodore was deeply into the occult. He held seances in the basement, claiming he could speak with the dead. But then, his entire family vanished without a trace. No bodies, no struggle, just gone. Over the years, anyone who owned this house either went missing, went insane, or left screaming in the middle of the night. Police officers, ghost hunters, skeptics, none of them could explain what they saw. The few who survived never talked about it, but I wanted to see for myself. This might be the worst decision I've ever made. The inside was just as creepy as the outside. The air was thick with dust and something else, a smell, stale and almost metallic, like old wood and something long forgotten. The first room I entered was the living room. Everything looked untouched, frozen in time, as if the owners had just vanished one night. A single wooden rocking chair sat in the corner facing the fireplace. I checked my watch. 7:45 p.m., still hours before midnight. But already, I felt like I wasn't alone. Something about the hallway unsettled me. My flashlight barely pierced the darkness ahead. But the worst part? I swear I saw movement at the end of it. I forced myself to check the kitchen next. More dust, rusted utensils scattered across the counter. And in the middle of the table, a single plate with fresh-looking food crumbs. That didn't make sense. This house had been abandoned for decades. No one should have been here. Then I heard it. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. Was it the wind, a trick of my imagination, or was something actually here with me? Then something moved in the hallway. A shadow, too tall, too thin. I froze. My camera started glitching. And then, bang! I ran to check it, but when I got there, the door was locked. From the inside. I tried to stay calm. Maybe it was just old hinges. Maybe the house was shifting. But then, I heard something that made my blood run cold. There was no one else in the house. I was supposed to be alone, so who or what was up there? I knew what I had to do. If I wanted proof, I had to go upstairs. Each step felt heavier than the last. The air grew colder and that feeling like I was being watched grew unbearable. I reached the top, my flashlight flickering. And then, I saw it. I turned, but nothing was there. When I looked back at the mirror, the reflection was still staring at me. That was enough. I ran. I didn't care about my footage. I didn't care about my pride. I had to get out. I kicked the door. I screamed. And finally, it burst open. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. I jumped in, slammed the door, and hit the gas. I looked in the rearview mirror one last time, and there, standing on the porch, was a figure, watching me leave, grinning. Of course it was. The so-called witching hour. The time when the veil between our world and something else is at its thinnest. The time when shadows stretch a little longer, whispers sound a little closer, and if you listen carefully, you might just hear something that isn't meant for your ears. I told myself it was just a coincidence, just an old superstition. But then, my radio, which had been off the entire night, suddenly crackled to life. No music, no voices, just a low breathing, rhythmic, deliberate. I forced myself to keep driving, to focus on the road ahead, but in my peripheral vision, just for a split second, I swear I saw it. A face, watching me through the glass, a face that shouldn't be there. Then a final whisper, right in my ear. "See you at 3 a.m. That whisper, those 4 words, they paralyzed me. "See you at 3 a.m.? I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles white. My breath came out in short, uneven gasps. That had to be in my head, right? There was no way something was in my car. But I felt it. That pressure in the air, that heaviness, like I wasn't alone. I told myself, don't look, just keep driving. The air turned ice cold. I could see my breath in the car, fogging up the windshield. My hands were sweating, shaking, and then something or someone was trying to get out. I pulled over so fast I nearly crashed. I turned around, finally forcing myself to look. The back seat was empty, but the door, it was open. Not wide, just a crack, like someone had slipped out. And then I saw it. A single wet handprint, right there on the seat. Too big to be mine, too fresh to have always been there. Distorted whispers, repeating, 3 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 a.m. I floored it. I sped all the way home, locked every door, every window, left every light on. But the second I sat down, the exhaustion hit me. I hadn't slept in over 24 hours. My body begged me to rest, and I made a mistake. I fell asleep. I woke up freezing. My room was pitch black, but I knew before I even checked my phone, it was happening again. My chest tightened, my breath caught in my throat. I felt watched, like something was in the room with me. I wanted to move, to turn on the lights, to run, but I was frozen, paralyzed, like something was holding me down. A single whisper inches from my ear. I told you, I'd see you at 3 a.m. I wasn't dreaming. This was real. Heart pounding, I reached out and pulled back the covers. A doll. Not just any doll, the doll. The one from the house, the one I saw in that upstairs bedroom sitting in the rocking chair, staring at me. But how? I never took it. I never even touched it. I swallowed hard, my pulse thundering in my ears, and then I realized I dropped it, scrambling out of bed so fast I nearly fell. The moment it hit the floor, the laughter stopped. But the air didn't feel lighter. The room didn't feel empty. You can't leave me behind. But I do know one thing. I wasn't alone in that house. It had even came to my house. But how and why was the question. So, what do you think? Was this just my mind playing tricks on me, or was something really in that house? And more importantly, the question is, did it follow me home? Let me know in the comments. If you love terrifying stories and real paranormal investigations, hit that like button and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe, and maybe leave the lights on.